That train thing will be real nice. Real nice. Too bad.
Okay, anytime.
This picture was taken here at Fort Apache, right along about 1900s or 1890s. The reservation has many games, many deers and turkeys and ducks and pheasant, and the scouts would go out with the soldiers and kill lots of deer and turkey. And we have a Velasquez here who is a scout, and then we also have a gentleman here called Chicken. This is Chicken here, one of the Apache Scout, and then Velasquez here, and they have gotten the deer, and then turkeys. There are a lot of turkeys. These soldiers, the Apache Scout, were good hunters, and they know just where to go, and there were lots.
Can I stop you here?
Yeah.
If you could go ahead, Edgar, and just start and tell us about that picture over again.
Okay, this photograph was about 1890s to 1900s, and these gentlemen are the Apache Scout. In their, let's say, in their scout clothes, and they have just returned from a hunt, and there's deers, and there's turkeys, and there's ducks, and a lot of ducks, and even they had a lot of fish too. The soldiers, I think, taught the Apaches how to eat the trout, probably, because the Apaches are not supposed to touch the snake, frogs, or any amphibians. So they thought that the fish was a snake, so they never did. They never did touch it until maybe the soldiers began to eat, and then they tasted, and it tastes good. And that could be it. But this is Velasquez, and this is Chicken here, and there's other Apaches that I don't know there in this photo, but this was taken on the Fort Apache. This is a photograph taken here at Fort Apache. This is one of the old barracks, and then they have a cellar down in the barracks, and then these are the Apache girls. Their dress were plain dress, and they usually have blankets, and then they would have beads on, and then their sleeves would usually be long, and they were simple and plain for the Apache ladies. And then we have one of the soldiers here, like the soldiers in World War I there. The next picture here you see would be on the here at the Fort Apache, and these are all the soldiers in front of the hospital. This is an old hospital which burned in 1930s. It burned, and this is the funeral. Then they had a funeral for the soldiers here, and all the soldiers were in a stand there of the funeral procession there. And so this is right along probably in the 1890s.
Where was that hospital located?
This is right across where the building, right where the house is.
Right where that house is over
Right,
there?
yeah, in front of it, just in front of that. And then here, as the soldiers camp out here, in the background you see these are the barns. There were 4 barns here for the soldiers, for the cavalry. This is a stable, their horses, where they put their horses. and they put their horses in. These tents are like these soldiers were, I guess, were trained here before they left for Philippine Islands, and so they came here at Fort Apache.
Are some of those barns still standing, or are they all been torn down?
These barns are still standing here.
Okay, those are the ones over across the road.
Yes, those are across the road.
Please back this way a little bit. Tilt, yeah, this way, there you go.
Yeah,
Right
that's
there.
good.
About at that angle, that way the glare will come
And then, of course, these are the soldiers, and then also the cellar, and then the barracks. And this is what we have there. We're rehabilitate the barracks here at Fort Apache, and we'll open it sometime in the near future.
That one, was that picture taken?
Well, I'll say in the 1900s. In the 1900s, and it looked like they got scalped themselves. No hair. These are some of the buildings that that were on the place here at Fort Apache. The stable, the grain building, the cavalry here at Fort Apache. This also was bought in the 1890s. And this is also the posts, non-commissioned staff quarters. This is also in the 1890s. And also we have the guardhouse. The guardhouse is still here, and it doesn't look like this anymore because most of the windows are sealed. And they claim that they had Geronimo was placed prison here one time, but he got out and made his own key and got out. And this is the hospital here. It was a beautiful hospital, just right across from us here. And I wish that we would have made that into a museum. That'd been a real nice place. And then here, again, on a parade ground here, we have the soldiers, I guess, they're all in the dress uniform, probably in the 1880s here. And then we go to the corral, the quarter corral in the old days. And then in the 1900s, where the soldiers here trained their horses for battle in the field. And this building here, where we are having the culture center here, this was built about 1871, so this is an old building. Many soldiers have occupied this, many officers. And then they had also a post library here on the post in the 1900s there. And then we had the Apache Scout Camp, just the outskirt of the post, east of our place here, and the Apache Scout lived there, and they were volunteer, and so they lived pretty close to the soldiers, because the soldiers always had the like exchange or commissaries and what have you that they shared, and then also they worked with the soldiers there. The Apache many years ago brought in hay. They cut hay for the soldiers, and all along the Apaches brought in on a donkey or wagon, and then they waited, and then they paid the Apache. We were late. Here's some more picture of the where they gathered all the hay. The Apaches here at Fort Apache, bringing all the hay, and they would pay them so much. We also have a cemetery here. There's a lot of unknown soldiers in the cemetery here. In 1930s, there were a lot of soldiers have been dug out and took them back maybe to their families or to the military posts, military cemetery. And we also have the headstone that was originally here at Fort Apache, that went to Santa Fe, and that we brought it back here at the Culture Center for the monument here. We had the corral. And then here's a picture of the Fort Apache when all the soldiers.
Turn that around and look at this.
They have a picket fence, white fence.
No big bear?
No big barricade here. Just a little white fence here. This way I have the white fence around our place because of that. We were talking about the CBQ fight. This monument. I mean this monument here. I went there with some of the historians, and we went to CBQ, and this is up to date. This is where it could have been where the battle had been, fought.
Back that way.
On this field, we found a lot of things, such as the artifacts of the casing, the bullets, the axe, and then the bit. A lot of people would tell that the medicine man, his head was chopped off by an axe, and but we found a lot of things there, a lot of interesting things. This is where I found that V17.
Oh, the thing you showed me?
Yes,
Yeah.
the tag,
Yeah.
the dog tag. For the Apaches, I found it at the same place too. And there was an interesting finding there. And this is how the Fort Apache looks today. Do you want to show that too?
Well, I think we'll
Okay.
take some pictures
All right.
outside of that. We can drive around.
All right. Let's see. We have the post bathhouse. I guess they have a bathhouse for these for the soldiers. The soldiers had a lot of hard time in their barracks. They live with lots of rats and bed bugs, and sometimes they like to burn the whole place down and build a new one. And the sanitation, I guess, was kind of bad because, but nobody talks about that. But we have it down as a record about a lot of interesting things, and fascinating places. And we had soldiers here. Oh, let's see here. This is what I was talking about. These are the soldiers that have the target practice. Where's my pencil? Okay. These are the targets here, the soldier. And they would ride behind this on their horse, and while they're moving, when they're moving, they would shoot at the target. They would shoot at the target in the practice, in their drill. This is what the soldiers did. And I found a target, and it's out here. If you want me to
That's
show
that
it.
metal one, right?
A metal one, yeah. And it has all the actual bullet marks of those people that have done that. Well, those are just some of the few pictures we have. We have lots and lots of these photographs. These books over here, they're congressional books. It was given to us and it's been sitting here, you know, in the barn. So I got a hold of the superintendent and you know, donated. On the pole here, on the poles, these are all saddlebag. The Apaches are making these, still are making these. These are made out of the cloth now. But in the old days, they had them in deer hide. They put their things, personal belongings, as they travel on a horse. They put all their stuff on both sides. In Apache, we call them excises, both side pocket-like. And that's what they are, all of these. They come in different colors now. But the Apache colors are black, blue, yellow, and white. Those are the medicine man's color. This is a typical dressing of the old days of the Apaches, with a lot of beads around their neck and the wrists, and then they have the shawl-like, and then they have the plain dress, simple dress, and this is the old type. This is 1900s, and these are beautiful young girls, but they're old now, about 70 and 80 years old. So, and then we have the crown dancers. Their Apaches are famous for the White Mountain Spirit Dance, and they there's a story about the crown dance, a legend, a boy who turned into a mountain spirit dance. He went in a cave, and it was forbidden for him to go in there, but he heard this strange sound, and then there he was caught in the spirit, and he turned into the mountain spirit dance. And he is representing us as a White Mountain Apache, and the reason we have the crown dance is for curing, for puberty ceremony. And then we, like the puberty ceremony, we'll have this way. Okay, we have burden basket. The burden basket we have hanging there. It's usually woven in the winter time, and the Apache use it to gather nuts, walnut, and all kinds of their personal belongings they put on a horse and travel on it. And it's a ladies' job, and they do a lot of work with ladies. Talking about ladies, we have cradle boards up there. They would have their babies tied in there. These are materials now that cloth, cotton, or sometimes like canvas, a little tougher so it won't tear as the baby are tucked inside with a blanket. They usually have a heavy blanket on the back, and then they put a blanket over and then tie the baby down, and they carry them. They usually have a strap behind them to carry them on their back, and all that loop, they put it around the horse, the saddle horn, and then they travel that way for many years. And the Apache is still using it, and some they're still carrying their babies in it.
You want to go into that room, or what's this? What's in that room there? Let's go ahead and walk. Go ahead and walk.
Okay. This is also an old room. We're trying to fix this up. This is an old army bed, And this is also is the bedspread. It says about 1883. This old bedspread is kind of dirty. Now we have the old trunk, the radio, and then this is the old stove for the soldiers in the early days for their tents. And this is one of the old places too. And then there's also an old flag that was given to Fort Apache by the Ghost Patrol from California. This is a Apache.
Just a minute, wait a minute.
This is the Apache basket. These are the old ones here. Beautiful designs. And we bought some and it was donated to us also. And this burden basket. This old tooth was donated to us by Colonel Warfield. And he donated a lot of things to us. And then these are the pitch burden basket. This was made recently, but this is how it's woven first, like this. And then they would apply pinion pitch. They would heat the pinion pitch, and they would have a stick or cloth on it, and then they would apply it to the basket like this, around while it is still hot. And then they would press it with their hands, providing that they have cold water right beside them, so they stick their hands in the water and then press against them, so that they won't stick to their fingers. And then they would do that inside. They would pour it inside also, and they will juggle it around and until they all becomes even. And then we have also Apache fiddle. We have Apache bow, and I'll show you a better one probably in my office.
Is that a musical instrument?
Yes. That's what the Apache. This is Apache violin. The wood is made out of, I guess, the century plant, and it's hollow. And they put holes in to make sounds, and they have the horsehair. And the stick that I'm using is to tighten up the string to make the different sounds, different notes. And then they would they would use a roslin too, just like the violinists would use a roslin on the bow, so to make a better sound. So I don't know how the Apaches, I guess they knew a lot of things that we didn't know. But they made the chant, they just hum along the way they sing, they chant. Instead of using their voice, they would use this as they would get used to the different notes, and the same chants that they would sing, they would have it the same way here, night or wherever they are. And so this was done from people from CBQ, and they painted, and we bought it from them.
What kind of wood is that? That's made out of?
Century plant, stock of wood.
Now you say that no one plays this anymore? They don't play this at any ceremonies?
No ceremonies. This is just pleasure, just like almost like a guitar or a violin, like you're sitting out on a ranch and sing. Just play. And the Apaches, when they're out by themselves, they play this, and even the medicine men play.
Well, was it styled after the regular fiddle? I mean, it's not an older instrument, or is it? Does
It's
it
an
go
old.
way back?
It goes way back. It goes way back, and they even have a flute too. The Apaches have a flute from the bamboo that they use, just like these prehistoric people. Like they had that flute with holes in them too. But the Apaches have the flute, and they call them sul, the flute. And so they had a lot of other things beside the drum. The drum we have I think we're the only tribe that uses water drum, and it has a beautiful sound to it. And the Apache, I guess, from that they're because they're Mother Nature, close to Mother Nature, and they respect everything. And water is part of the power that they have too.
Do you know if this fiddle was ever used in ceremonies, or was just always as a sort of a?
I don't think
pleasure?
it's ever used in the ceremony. The ceremonies usually the medicine men do a lot of talking and use the pollen and the eagle feather and a lot of serious singing over the ceremony, but not with the fiddle. People may probably, just like I said, they may use it for leisure, but I never heard that's been used in the ceremony.
Okay. Otherwise, is that in focus?
Mm-hmm.
That train thing will be real nice. Real nice. Too bad.
Okay, anytime.
This picture was taken here at Fort Apache, right along about 1900s or 1890s. The reservation has many games, many deers and turkeys and ducks and pheasant, and the scouts would go out with the soldiers and kill lots of deer and turkey. And we have a Velasquez here who is a scout, and then we also have a gentleman here called Chicken.
Top of it just so that